Vikings 30, Titans 31. Titans now go 3-0. Vikings go 0-3. Titans aren't looking like much of a threat in the AFC, considering there is the Baltimore Ravens and Kansas City Chiefs, who tonight, this is going to be a really good game. Tonight, the Kansas City Chiefs and Baltimore Ravens play, and this is going to be a preview of the AFC Championship, is my prediction. That's going to be a fun game to watch. Don't miss that game. But anyways, Titans are not going to compete. Titans might win their... Titans will probably win their division. They are in a division with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are garbage. They're in a division with the Tennessee or with the Houston Texans, who outside of Deshaun Watson are just not good. Texans lost to D-Hop, and they just are not good. David Johnson is looking okay, but outside of that, Texans are no threat at all. And then the Indianapolis Colts are there too. And Vikings are playing three AFC teams in a row. Vikings played. I don't remember ever seeing this happen ever as a Vikings fan, seeing them play three AFC teams in a row. They played, of course, who did they play? They played the Colts last week. Vikings looked awful that game. Offense, defense, no one showed up to that game. This happens every year. Vikings have one game where nobody shows up. This year will probably be more than that. And then, of course, yesterday they took on the Titans, lost by a point, and the next week we'll take on the Texans. Vikings will probably win against the Texans because, of course, the Texans have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but they also have the worst head coach in the league, and Will Fuller is their starting wide receiver. David Johnson is their starting running back. No offense right there. Defense, we can do everything against their defense. Vikings have a great offense. This is something people are forgetting. Vikings have an amazing offense, and they've showed it already. Of course, week 2, they didn't look good at all. But week 1, putting up 34 points. Week 3, putting up 30 points. Should have been enough. Vikings have an amazing offense, and this offense is young. Dalvin Cook is still he should still be on his rookie contract. I mean, he's just got his new contract. Dalvin Cook is very young. Of course, Adam Thielen and Kyle Rudolph are older. Adam Thielen and Kyle Rudolph, as they move on, we have the replacement. Justin Jefferson is looking really good already. We saw a lot from our rookies this week. A lot from our rookies. We saw a lot from Jeff Gladney. And now, of course, Jeff Gladney, he's a rookie corner. You don't expect a whole lot from rookie corners because it is hard for them to develop into the NFL. So I didn't expect a whole lot from Jeff Gladney going into this game. But from what we've seen what the Vikings are trying to do, and they didn't do a great job yesterday, but as the season progresses, I know that the Vikings corners will look better as the season goes on. And of course, as the Viking season goes on, I don't think Vikings are going to make the playoffs at this point. In fact, Vikings are looking like 3rd, 4th in the division right now, which is totally fine. Vikings are going to be looking for a new quarterback in the first round of next year's draft anyways, so hopefully they can get in a good position where they can trade up for the pick. I don't think Vikings are going to get a top 5 pick in next year's draft because of how stacked this offense is looking right now. I don't think it's going to happen. I wish it could happen. I wish Vikings could tank for Treavor. I've been saying this. A lot of people are saying Vikings are going to tank for Treavor. That's just not the case. Vikings are not in no place to tank for Treavor, although I would love to see it happen. You look at these other teams in the league. Both New York teams are so bad right now. Sam Darnold is not looking good with the Jets, and then Daniel Jones is playing with the Giants, who have no offensive weapons because Saquon Barkley is out. Both those teams are going to probably take Trevor Lawrence over their quarterbacks right now. So of course they have their quarterbacks. They have their quarterbacks, but of course you're going to take Trevor Lawrence over that. Expecting Trevor Lawrence has a great year in Clemson this year. But anyways, Vikings tanking for Trevor is just not going to be the case. I wish it could happen, but maybe trading up for Justin Fields, maybe trading up for Trevor Lawrence. We don't know. I would totally see the Giants trading. I could totally see the Giants trading down. Even if they have the first overall pick, I could see the Giants trading down with the Vikings. So outside of that, we saw Jeff Gladney trying to get rid of that deep threat. That's all the Vikings have to do. That's all the Vikings secondary have to do. We forget the Vikings secondary has a lot of pieces. Eric Kendricks, one of the best inside linebackers in the league. Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith, best safety duo right there. Vikings have a lot of pieces on defense. A lot of pieces on their secondary, I should say. All we need the corners to do is cut that deep threat. All we need the corners to do is not get beat deep. That's all we ask for the corners. Holton Hill, not a great corner. I'm sorry. I haven't seen enough from Holton Hill. I saw Holton Hill was starting this year, and I've said I have not seen enough from Holton Hill. Hopefully, I'll give him a chance. I'll give Holton Hill a chance. Holton Hill has had his chance. Now, of course, Mike Hughes is injured. We see this every year. Mike Hughes gets injured, and then a camera dancer is also injured. So at this point, you have to play Holton Hill. It's a given. You have to play Holton Hill, and you have to play Jeff Gladney. All we ask these corners to do is force the ball to be thrown short. We have to force short passes by the offenses, and that's all the Vikings corners have to do. There's no way that we can tank for Trevor. I would love to see it happen. That's not going to be the case. We have a head coach who's probably on his last deal right now. This head coach is probably on his last year, and I think Mike Zimmer will be gone. New head coach will come in, maybe a new GM, although Rick Spielman is a great GM. I would like to see a new head coach, though. Possibly Gary Kubiak coming in. I don't know. Gary Kubiak I don't think is going to play. Gary Kubiak is calling plays from the booth. I don't think he's going to be a head coach and also be playing from the booth. So anyways, we saw a lot from our rookies. We saw Jeff Gladney play. I would like to see more of Jeff Gladney going forward. All we need him to do is get rid of that deep threat. Don't get beat deep. That's all we ask. Do not get beat deep from Jeff Gladney. And then Holton Hill, obviously, although he's not a rookie, he's on his like third year. I think he's undrafted in 2018. I might be wrong. I think he was undrafted in 2018 or 2019. Anyways, not 2019, but yeah, we saw a lot from our rookies. So, and then we saw DJ Wanham. DJ Wanham was our 4th round draft pick. He got his first sack. Technically, it doesn't count as a sack though, because technically it was when Ryan Tannehill fumbled the ball and then recovered his own fumble, and then DJ Wanham got to him and downed him. So technically it wasn't a sack, but it also was a sack. So DJ Wanham doesn't actually have his first sack, but we saw some from him. I don't think we're going to be seeing a whole lot from DJ Wanham. He was great in college, but of course we have Yannick Ngakoue, we have Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter is coming back. His injuries are looking like he is going to be coming back. Maybe not this week, but coming forward. And then of course we have Afadi, and then DJ Wanham is sitting right there also. So our defensive ends are looking really good. They would be looking better. Okay, I know Yannick Ngakoue is not looking as good as he should be right now. I know Afadi Odenigbo isn't looking as good as they should be right now. That's because every quarterback is given 3 seconds to throw. There's no time to get to the quarterback because there's always someone open. There's always someone open. Corey Davis last week. Ali Cox week 2. Valdez-Scantling week 1. It's every week. There's somebody who's just not good that is always open. Now, Corey Davis, Corey Davis is good, but he never did live up to, what was it, if 5th overall pick. Corey Davis has never lived up to that, but still, he was open every single time yesterday. There's always someone open, and this is what we have to expect going into every Vikings game going forward. We have to expect that the defense is going to be bad. We have to expect that there's no way we can get to the passer. There's no way that we can get to the passer because somebody's always open. Ryan Tannehill just threw the ball away right away because there was always someone open. We have to expect that it's easy to get to the passer, but there's no way that we're going to get to the passer because our secondary is just that bad. You need to get that secondary down, and the Vikings defensive line is going to be looking a lot better. Derrick Henry destroyed us. Of course, we have to expect for this to happen. But anyways, of course, we have to get into this. Justin Jefferson looks amazing. I said I didn't think Justin Jefferson was going to get a whole lot of targets this week, and that's because I thought that they were going to play him inside the slot and use Justin Jefferson on just short passes, which is what I thought that the Vikings were using him as. No, they used Justin Jefferson on the outside, and he looks amazing. Use Justin Jefferson on the outside more. I thought that they kept using him, that they were going to keep using him on the slot. No, they used him as a deep threat. They used him as getting first downs. They used him on everything but short passes, which is what I thought that they were going to use him as, which is why I didn't think he was going to get as many targets this week. Justin Jefferson, 175 yards. 175 yards, I think averaging 29 yards a catch or something like that. 175 yards, a touchdown. His first touchdown. That's going to be one of his best touchdowns of his career, and that was his first touchdown. That cut, that was a beautiful cut and into double coverage basically, and then broke 2 tackles, yards after the catch. You know what he's good with. In LSU, he led the league in I think it was yards after contact, yards after the catch, that kind of stuff, which is why he was one of the best slot receivers the best slot receiver in college. And now him being an outside receiver, using him over BC, I've been saying, I know BC was a great pick. BC taken in the 7th round was a great pick. BC is no starting wide receiver. He is not a starting wide receiver. He's a player who, at best, you can use him inside the slot. You can see that 7th round pick being like, oh, that was a really good 7th round pick. We got a lot out of him. And we already did get a lot out of BC. We already got a lot out of BC, but using him as an outside receiver is just not what you want to see right now. Adam Thielen, of course, Mr. Reliable. You love to see that. So we saw a lot from this Vikings offense. This Viking offense looked good, and that's because, like I said, give the ball to Dalvin Cook. Give the ball to Dalvin Cook. Look what we saw in 2019 season. In the 2019 season, when Dalvin Cook had a good day, everybody had a good day. There was a reason why Kirk Cousins looked as good as he did last year, was because you give the ball to Dalvin Cook, you use that run, you revolve your offense around that run, and now you're setting up for the pass. Defenses are designed to stop Dalvin Cook. Now you are looking really good with the pass. When Dalvin Cook has a good game, everybody has a good game. Alexander Mattison has a good game. CJ Ham obviously has a good game. Tight ends have a good game. Kyle Rudolph with another beautiful one-hand catch. I don't know what is with that guy. He catches everything. Kyle Rudolph catches everything. This guy is unstoppable. Adam Thielen had a great game. Justin Jefferson had an amazing game. Oh, and then, of course, Kirk Cousins had a great game. Everyone in the offense had a great game outside of our offensive line. This offensive line, how many years has it been? 5 years. 5 years of awful offensive linemen, and the Vikings just still can't get any time under center. No time under center. Kirk Cousins, at the end, it was the ending drive. The ending drive. Kirk Cousins had about 3 seconds every down. 3 seconds. They got to him. 3 people on the defensive lineman. This is what I was saying. Vikings have 5 people on their offensive line. Tennessee Titans love to run that 4-3 defense. You have 3 people on the defensive line, and they still get to them. You are double coverage. You are using double coverage against Jadeveon Clowney and these other guys, and you still can't defend. You can't defend these defensive linemen, if that makes any sense. And this is because, is Drew Samia the best offensive lineman we can have right now? Is Drew Samia the best right guard that we can use right now? No. Now, of course, Pat Elflein is injured, and you have other pieces you can use. Now, I know Ezra Cleveland is a left tackle. I know Rashad Hill is a right and left tackle. I know these are tackles. They can play guard too. Use Ezra Cleveland or Rashad Hill over Drew Samia. You don't even need someone to be a guard to play as in the guard spot. You don't need that to be the case. You do not need that to be the case. Play Ezra Cleveland or Rashad Hill over Drew Samia. This is what I want to see because Drew Samia is looking really bad. I gave him some slack. I cut him some slack week 2. Of course, he was going against DeForest Buckner, one of the best defensive tackles in the league, and was totally destroyed. This week, he just... Drew Samia, I'm disappointed. I was very high on Drew Samia going this year. And then Pat Elflein went out and I was like, oh, Drew Samia might take his job and never give it back. Wow, was I wrong. Drew Samia is worse than Pat Elflein, and I need to see someone else in his place. Holton Hill, I need to see Holton Hill benched as well. Of course, we can't give it. Okay, Cameron Dantzler was injured. Mike Hughes was injured. Of course, you have to play Holton Hill, so there's nothing going there. We expected that the Vikings were going to at least give 30 points up to this Tennessee Titans offense, who is great. Tennessee Titans didn't have A.J. Brown and still looked like a great offense, and that's because of how our secondary looks, and I expected this to be the case going into the game. But still, defense played better than I thought that they were going to play. Now, of course, the defensive linemen still couldn't get to the passer much. Yannick Ngakoue did get to the passer. DJ Wanham did, so you saw some things. You saw some things from the defensive line, but again, teams can run and pass all over us. Teams can run and pass all over us. And Vikings defense, you have to continue to expect them to be awful, but that Vikings offense is looking really, really good. And hopefully Vikings can finish the season 0-16 and get Trevor Lawrence. Because if we can get a quarterback who can move around, we don't need a great offensive line. If we can get that Kyler Murray type of quarterback or that Josh Allen is looking really good right now. Texans, Deshaun Jackson. If we can get some of these, Lamar Jackson, there's so many players. If we can get a mobile quarterback, we don't have to continue to invest more into the offensive lineman. But as long as we're going forward with Kirk Cousins, you have to invest more into that offensive line. I don't know why the Vikings did not take offensive guard in this year's draft. I think that is crazy. Well, they did in 6th round. Vikings had a perfect opportunity in round 2, a perfect opportunity in round 1 to trade down. They didn't even need to take Jeff Gladney. There was no need to take Jeff Gladney. Now, I know we needed a corner, but you could have gave Trey Waynes another deal. And invested into that offensive lineman. Vikings had a perfect opportunity to get an offensive lineman, and they didn't. Well, okay, they took Ezra Cleveland 2nd round, which, great. You took Ezra Cleveland 2nd round, and you didn't even cut Riley Reiff. Why? Why still have Riley Reiff on the roster? In fact, keep Riley Reiff on the roster. Play Ezra Cleveland as an offensive guard. Use someone as an offensive guard over Drew Samia. You need someone to play over Drew Samia. Pat Elflein is not a good starter. Drew Samia is an awful backup from what we've seen. Outside of that, our offensive lineman is not that bad. You know how I feel about Riley Reiff already. Vikings got to get rid of Riley Reiff. You know how I feel about him. He's not even a bad starter. He's just way too overpaid for his position right now. Well, not for his position. I mean, he's a left tackle. That's a very high-paid position. But also, he is Riley Reiff. Not a great offensive lineman. And then Dakota Dozier's looking great. Dakota Dozier was moved from right guard to left guard this year and looks amazing. Pat Elflein looks awful. Again, Pat Elflein, why are you still a starter? And then Garrett Bradbury. I like how Garrett Bradbury is looking this year. Garrett Bradbury has been a very athletic center who is looking really good this year, and I expect to see him being a starter going forward. And then, of course, Brian O'Neill is a great starter. Used someone over Drew Samia right now. I don't care who it is. You have pieces already. You don't even need to sign a guard. Ezra Cleveland, use him as a guard. Tackles can play guard too. Yes, they can. Tackles can play guard too. I love how Dakota Dozier is looking right now. Dakota Dozier is looking like a great left guard. Please use someone over Drew Samia is what I ask if you want to win. Because nobody in the NFL right now needs more time under center than Kirk Cousins. I love what they're doing with Kirk Cousins this year. I love to see Kirk Cousins run with the ball. I was saying we need to see Kirk Cousins run with the ball more. I see Kirk Cousins run for a lot of first downs. We saw it yesterday. We saw it when he was with the Washington Redskins, then came to Minnesota and just decided he wanted to stay under center with the ball. Please use someone over Drew Samia. You have pieces already. You don't need to wait for Pat Elflein to come back. You don't. You don't need Pat Elflein to be your starter. You need Pat Elflein to be your backup, and you need Drew Samia off the roster ASAP. Okay, maybe not. Drew Samia is not, you don't pay him very much money. You don't need to get him off the roster. You don't need Drew Samia off the roster. I take that back. But still, you can keep him on the roster and still have him there, but not starting role. Not a starting role. I know week 2 got destroyed by DeForest Buckner. I was cutting him some slack. It is DeForest Buckner. Week 3, I saw enough from Drew Samia. You can play anyone over him. Rashad Hill looks great. Play him over. You have Ezra Cleveland. I've been saying this. Brett Jones. We still have Brett Jones. Why is Brett Jones not starting over him? Brett Jones is an interior lineman and not starting over him. I just don't get it. I just don't get it why Drew Samia is still our starter. I think it's stupid. But yeah, again, you have to expect that the Vikings every game are probably going to allow 30 points when the offense is looking good. If the offense on the other team is looking good, you have to allow 30 points. But outside of that, Vikings offense is amazing. Vikings have one of the best offenses in the league right now. Vikings offense is so good. One of the best tight end groups. One of the best running back groups. Would they be? No, nobody has a better running back group than the Cleveland Browns or the Buccaneers right now. So not one of, one of the best running back group. We'll give it to them because CJ Ham is the best fullback. Dalvin Cook is a top 10 running back. Alexander Mattison can give you anything you want from him. That hurdle yesterday was nasty. That hurdle was beautiful. But anyways. And then outside of that, you have Justin Jefferson, who's going to be given a lot more targets now. He is your number 2 receiver. You're going to play him on the left side and probably on the outside. Maybe not even the slot anymore. Maybe put BC inside the slot. We saw it last year. BC was in the slot, looked pretty good. You don't even need someone in the slot. In fact, put Irv Smith in the slot. Irv Smith could be a great wide receiver. He has amazing hands. He's an amazing blocker. So is Justin Jefferson, though. Justin Jefferson is a great blocker. So is Irv Smith. These are players you can use inside the slot. You don't need to use BC. BC is a great 3 receiver. BC is a player that came in last year and looked amazing for Adam Thielen when Adam Thielen went out. BC is a player you want on your roster. So you still have Tajay Sharp too, so you have players you can have on your roster. Chad Beebe you can use inside the slot too. There's multiple pieces you can use. But from what I saw yesterday from Justin Jefferson on the outside was amazing. Use him on the outside. Use Justin Jefferson. His route running ability is great. He can block. He's our best player after the catch right now. Justin Jefferson is our best player after the catch. Or it's between him and Dalvin Cook. But because we haven't seen Dalvin Cook get as many targets this year as we did last year, we'll give it to Justin Jefferson because he looks great after the catch. And I love to see this guy. Right now. Justin Jefferson going forward is going to be hopefully a really good first-round draft pick. Vikings have not been good with their first-round draft picks as of the last 10 years. Vikings have not been good with their first-round draft picks. Vikings, get a new right guard. You don't even need to get a new right guard. Start someone over Drew Samia, please. And that Vikings offense is set. Vikings defense, still going to be bad. So hopefully the Vikings can continue to lose games because there is no way the Vikings can compete against these NFC teams right now. There is no way the Vikings can even can compete inside their division right now. The Packers are looking really good. Bears with Nick Foles is looking better right now than the Vikings because of how their defense is looking. We can't even compete inside of our division. Well, I would still give the Vikings 8-8 at best. I would still give the Vikings 8-8 and best. That'd be 8 wins, 5 losses going forward. I still think that the Vikings are an 8-8 team. But if there's anything I hate the most in the world is mediocrity. And that's exactly where the Vikings are at right now. I know them going 0-3 is looking like we can tank for Treavor. It's looking like a possibility. We're going to be playing a lot of bad teams. This year. And you know how the Vikings look against bad teams. We look great against bad teams. Our offense is going to get us wins. And hopefully we can do bad. Because then we can go for a new quarterback, even though I know Kirk Cousins is not the reason why we're 0-3. Our defense is the reason why we're 0-3. Kirk Cousins puts up 34 points against the Packers, puts up 30 points against the Titans, and Yep. The defense just allows more points than that. Kirk Cousins played awful against the Colts, though. And then Kirk Cousins missed his target with Justin Jefferson. That was a curl route. That was supposed to be a curl route. There is no way Kirk Cousins missed him that bad. We don't see this from Kirk Cousins often when it's that short of a pass, those like dimes straight. That had to have been a curl route. Either either Justin Jefferson messed up or Kirk Cousins messed up and was throwing the wrong route, because he threw before Justin Jefferson even looked and was in the complete wrong spot. So I think it was supposed to be a curl route from Justin Jefferson. I wouldn't be surprised, because that's what he likes to do. So I think that's what it was supposed to be, and Justin Jefferson just ran the wrong route, is my guess. I don't think Kirk Cousins was the reason why he threw that pick. That was almost a pick six yesterday. We saw a great drive from the Vikings offense in the last, near the end. When the Vikings were down 25-24, we saw an amazing drive from them, and you love to see it. You love to see that this offense is great, because going forward, the offense can continue to look good. You need to get a new right guard or start someone over Drew Samia, and you're going to be looking fine.